Howdy, welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you all watching and following. That means a lot to all of those who are subscribed. So we're getting back into the drip garden, and for those who have been watching a lot of my content or any content, you may be getting tired of this same question, and you may already have your own opinion on it, or you may be completely confused as to the answer, even though you have heard the answer multiple times. So does the price of plants matter? Does the price specifically of a single plant matter in the drip garden? So I'll explain this in two ways, and the first one is with a paraphrasing of some notes I took earlier from Forex Shark, the developer. He was on an AMA, and giving an interview that he's always very thorough and answers a lot of questions, and he did touch on the garden. And so his answer, first off, he specifically did say that people have been focusing too much on the plant price, and he was saying if you try to put a price on plants, you're going to be misled because it's not the tradable asset. That's what he keeps coming back to. It's not the sellable asset. It just represents your ROI. So to that effect, he went further to mention, those who are compounding more often, they're going to have a higher ROI to begin with. But if you focus on the price of the plants, then you may be under the assumption that you're losing value. And you say that's not correct. You're not losing value. The decay is on purpose, and what's actually happening is that he's just making the buying power increased for new capital coming in. Even if you were to add capital, you would get that plant price, and you could have more plants than when you first started. You could buy more plants with an equivalent amount of cash. So that's kind of neat, but we're getting off topic. So that's one answer. One answer is to listen to the developer. He says, don't worry about the plant price. That's not the point of the game. It's just part of the metric. He said that's why plant price is not on this dashboard. He's made that clear, even though it's been opened up on some of these separately coded websites. Because it's available, they pull that data, but it's not what you should be focusing on if you're trying to track your individual value and how much you're going to be making in the future if you're trying to project that. So that's one answer. So to explain that in a different way, because here's the confusion I see happening, is that yes, 2.592 million seeds, that's the equivalent of one plant. It takes that many seeds to make a plant, and that's about $4.07 worth, which is 0.123 of an LP. Now, this LP fraction here is decreasing. This is part of the decay. That happens naturally with the garden. That's how it's built. And so you're going to see this dollar amount decrease, and you'll see it decrease even more rapidly if the LP value is down. But I think the confusion comes in here where people say the plant price doesn't matter, and that's confusing because obviously it matters. It's the plant price is equivalent to what 2.592 million seeds are. That's why it matters, because it is actually representative of an amount of seeds. And so that is correct. I mean, that you're right in that regard. I think what we should say is not that the plant price doesn't matter, but the plant price does not matter right now. That's really the way to phrase it. Because, again, we're looking at these long-term projections. We're looking at these longer-term projections where even with a reasonable amount of decay, you should see a dollar amount that's increasing. Or you should see an LP amount that's increasing more accurately. I wouldn't even get confused with the dollar amounts. Make sure this LP amount is increasing every day, and you'll be fine. So, but the plant price does not matter right now. Sure, we can use it to back into how much per seed, and then I use that to affect with the decay, how much per seed, how much LP per seed. But we don't know what this LP is going to be later on, this LP token value. So this could be $40, it could be $50, it could be $25. We don't actually know. So the value of the plant right now shouldn't worry you, because it's partially based on this natural decay and then partially based on this LP token value, which you have no control over unless you're some massive whale that's just adding a lot in or taking a lot out of the drip ecosystem. You're actually affecting the drip price, which most of us don't fall into that category. So the plant price matters because, yes, we could back into the number of LP per seed, But it doesn't matter right now. Like, the dollar amount doesn't matter. The plant could be $3, it could be $2, it could be $1. It matters what price it was when you got in, I suppose. But after that, you're compounding. All it controls is how many plants you could buy right now. So where am I at as an example? I'm at 256. I'm at 256 plants. I've seen this be about 1.5 on average, but I'm going even more safe or conservative, and I'm making it 1.7% of a decay. Where's this at right now? 0.123. All right. And the LP is 33 right now. Now, I'm actually bullish on this, and this kind of helps illustrate. It was closer to 39 when I got in, and I'd expect it to even go back up to 40 or more once DRIP evens out. I'm hoping. No crystal ball here that can tell the future. That's about equivalent to my predictions. But here's the point, is that this plant price is going to keep declining, or the LP per plant. Right now it's what, 0.123. But if this rate of decay that I'm kind of predicting as an estimate here continues, it's not going to be 0.123. It's going to be 0.002 in 200 days, and on and on and on. But the point is how rapidly you start compounding plants. Even, let's pick kind of a number in here, even around day 60, I'm now up to 1,689 plants. I'm making $100 a day with this estimate if the LP value goes back up. So the decay doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the price of the plant is or the price per seed. All that really matters is how much total LP am I getting that day, and how much the LP price is at the token. What is it valued at? So that's what matters. So when we say the plant price doesn't matter, it does not matter right now. Unless you're adding a new capital. If you're buying in right now, but even then, theoretically, the whole point of the game is that it's evened out. That's the point of the decay, is that you get in at an equivalent rate as your buddy who got in 2 weeks ago. You should be able to buy an equivalent amount of plants, and that's what makes this all kind of fair, is that now you're buying an equivalent amount of plants. Someone else may have more, but that's because they've already hit the point of rapid compounding. Compounding interest is just amazing, and I shouldn't really say interest, but just the compounding, the whole compounding factor is amazing and very impressive, and it starts adding up very quickly when you get to these higher numbers. So that's the whole point of the garden. That's the whole point of the decay, is that if you're compounding responsibly, none of that matters, because you'll be hitting so many plants that this is just going to be a really awesome multiplier. And remember that we're talking about percentages. You're getting, on average, if you're doing better than the average person, if you're compounding at least on par, as far as a ratio of compounding to harvesting, if you're doing that on par with the average user in the system, you should be getting a 3% return daily, up to a 3% return daily. And yes, you are fighting a decay, which I don't know if that was factored in when that 3% was originally advertised or not. But if it is 1.5%, what are you still getting? 1.5% a day, 2%, whatever it is. This decline depends on the contract balance and other factors as well. So the point is, you shouldn't have any issue outpacing it. You should be making more and more every day. If you're not, you're likely not compounding enough, or you haven't been in the system long enough. And just stop worrying about this value here. This is going to go down naturally. You can worry about this value all you want and say, oh, what's going to bring the LP value back up? And we can talk about that. But the individual price of plants should not worry you. We want this to go back up, and I hope that it does, and I'm bullish on that. But the price of plants does not matter right now. That's the more accurate way to phrase the answer to that question. Do plants matter? So, as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate the subscribes, and if you are jumping in to these programs, these protocols, feel free to use my referrals in the description to navigate to those pages, check them out. I greatly appreciate it. Always gives me a little boost on plants, and that's always fun to see. That's the best way to show me that you appreciate these videos. If you're already in, though, just keep watching and asking good questions in the comments. Also, as a disclaimer, I always have to state, as we all do, that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not my job, and I cannot tell you what to do with your funds or finances. These are high-risk programs that we're looking at for the most part. The whole DeFi space is really, I mean, if you're in Bitcoin, that's high risk, but a lot more established than some of these random DeFi projects are, even if we have a lot of faith in the developers. We really have to state that this is not a foolproof guaranteed system. So always keep that in mind, that rewards are not guaranteed or income is not guaranteed. But I think if we play our cards right, these programs are pretty nifty to make some extra income. So again, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great one.